Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my first review on this channel, and that is Blood and Chocolate by Annette Curtis Claus. This book is about a 16-year-old werewolf named Vivian. Her pack had recently had to relocate to a suburb in Maryland because after losing their pack leader and a few members of their pack in a house fire, and tensions are high in this pack at the moment because they are without a leader and they need to decide a new leader. They also are starting to put pressure on Vivian since she's 16. They want her to choose a mate among the men in the pack. She finds solace in a young boy named Aiden. Aiden is fascinated with the occult, very fascinated with magic. Vivian thinks that he might be able to accept her for what she really is, but also along with that we also have the drama of a small group of humans that are being killed by werewolves. And this threatens to expose the pack, and it may be a repeat of what happened at their previous home where they might be hunted down or killed if people know that they exist. Will the pack allow the romance between Aiden and Vivian to blossom? Who is causing the murders? And who will rise up to be the next pack leader? Now, going into this book, I had actually watched the 2007 movie. I didn't realize with the 2007 movie when I watched it that it was based off of a book. I didn't find out until I'd heard from a couple of classmates who had actually read the book. And they had told me that the book was actually a lot better than the movie. But after reading the book, I will say the book and the movie have so little in common. Like, if you were to just change the names of the characters and change the title of the movie, you wouldn't have been able to tell that they were supposed to be the same story. So, with that in mind, how did I feel about the book? Well, the one thing that I loved over the movie is that Vivian actually liked being a werewolf. I could see the appeal in the book as to why she would want to go out with somebody like Aiden had brought to her. There wasn't much of this, but there was some really nice mythology of the Loup-garou, of the werewolves, in the book. I do like with the book, instead of Vivian having this whole I want to be normal story, it's more she's looking for a place to belong. Since the pack is basically falling apart, all the people that she connected with really are all gone. And she really doesn't have a place in the pack, and it doesn't help with her absent mother as well. More on her later. I will also say that I think the character of Gabriel was done better in the book. At least he was a lot more interesting in the book than he was in the movie. And now to the bad parts. Every guy in this book in some way either threatens Vivian, harasses her in some way, they actually physically harm her in some way. Even Aiden, sweet Aiden, has one of these moments in the book. Who Vivian ends up with as far as being a paranormal romance, who Vivian ends up with is decided in the last chapter of the book, and it almost comes out of nowhere. I will say my most hated character in the book was Vivian's mother, Esme. Yes, even with all the douchey guys in this, I found a way to hate Esme more. I know it is a big part of her character that it would explain why Vivian would want to belong somewhere so much, because Esme is very absent with her Vivian. It seems like even though her husband has been dead about a year, Esme is ready to go out and try and sleep around with other men. This wouldn't bother me so much, except I'm not trying to slut shame her at all, but it's like, it's clear that Vivian is still grieving over her father's death and kind of pushed herself away from her daughter, and that bugged me. And Esme has this sense of, because she doesn't communicate with her daughter, it's like there's always this sense of, oh, I know what's best for you, even if it means I'm gonna push you toward a guy that I know has either endangered the pack or is prone to violence, or bringing her about a bunch of guys that really aren't the best for a high school girl to be hanging out with, but at least they're werewolves. It did make sense to me why Aiden was such a breath of fresh air to her, because Vivian wanted a sense of belonging, which she did not get in the pack. Her mother had been absent. All of her guy friends were now pressuring her to try and pick one of them to mate with. She is kind of intimidating for her classmates to approach. And on that topic, I will say I am glad that Vivian didn't suffer from the trope of, because she's a YA protagonist, that they give her low self-esteem so that the guy that ends up with her can build her up, or by extension, the reader. But Vivian had the opposite problem. Vivian knew she was beautiful and thought that that aspect drove her classmates away from her. That got irritating. I don't know, there was just such an air of arrogance to her. The other thing I didn't like is that the book very heavily foreshadowed who the person was that was doing all the killing. It was that this person was so obvious to me. I kept looking at other people that may have been overlooked, or at least were getting some screen time or page time. As for the book, I didn't have a lot of problems with it. I was expecting a lot more from it. I don't know if I could even recommend this book. This has probably been one of my bigger disappointments of this year. I did like that Vivian at least liked the fact that she was a werewolf, but I really can't ignore the other problems with the other characters. Yeah, this book gets a 2 out of 5. And I did have another book by this author. We'll see if this one's any better. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.